I've seen enough through my years, more than 40 years in this field of holistic medicine, that, you know, I don't question it because I see it all the time. And through all the years, you know, sometimes you wonder, is this person going to improve as much as other has? And well, let's say you have rheumatoid arthritis or you have forms of cancer. And a lot of people, for example, with cancer are told you have a very rare form, you have an aggressive form, and they make it just as well. So you learn that it has to do with you. It has to do with your choices and your attitude about life and your attitude about what, you know, how you take a change, because there will be a change. There's no way that I'm going to tell you that, you know, just change your attitude and everything will be fine. No, I have to change my diet. I have to get into holistic medicine in many ways where you know, allow people that have been working in this field for a long time, homeopaths, acupuncturists, chiropractors, you know, it's a whole team, massage therapists. There's so many amazing massage therapies like lymphatic drainage, neuromuscular. All of this plays such a big role in your recovery. So you have to allow them to come into your life and help you and support you in your healing. It's going to happen. Once you start eating raw, living foods, your body's like, okay, I'm doing it. Because your immune system is an intelligence that is unbelievable. And I've seen it. We have blood tests at the Institute, so our physician looks over the blood test before and after. It blows your mind what your body is able to do and how willing it is to recover. It has a one-track mind. And will always help you if you help it by doing the things. It needs to move. It needs to be oxygenated. It needs enzymes, phytonutrients. Dead food, I mean cooked food, doesn't have any of that in it. So raw food is the way you get it, and the sprouts are amazing to give you those nutrients, especially wheatgrass, of course, is a big part of our system, and you know, it's like a blood transfusion. It's so rich. We drink 2 ounces of that twice a day. There's a lot of things that you can do with wheatgrass too. You can bathe your eyes with it. You can clean your hair with it. You can, you know, you can do douches with it. You mix it half with water, of course. And you know, I think enough people have been in this field to study what is holistic medicine and what is life food medicine. It's really amazing. So my take on it is, don't ever take no for an answer. You come to a place, for example, to Hippocrates, we're going to teach you that the sky's the limit. You can get to where you want to be. Now, it might take a while. It's not going to happen in a few weeks. It might take you a few years, but it's fine. You're on the road. That's, you know, only you can go that road, and we'll help you and support you. Now, 1 out of 8 women get breast cancer, and 1 out of 7 men get prostate cancer. And it's like, well, it's just going to happen. No, it's just not going to happen. It happens because of our lifestyle. It happens because we have stress, enormous stress. We have electromagnetic field that's constantly invading our cells and our mind, for that matter. And we have a diet that's heavy processed. If you look at any basket in the supermarket, anybody's basket, there's nothing in there that I really want because it's so heavy processed. And processed food doesn't have anything for you. There's calories, tons of calories, the tons of sugar. Now in the 70s, we took fat away from processed food because people didn't want to get fat. So they put sugar in instead, and we got fatter than ever. The sodas, they took sugar out and they put processed sugar like aspartame, and people got fatter and people got sick. A lot of cancer happened from this and high fructose corn syrup. So I want to have as little processed food as possible, as much fresh food as possible, And of course, if I can start growing a lot of things on my own, that'd be amazing. I want to live in an environment where that is healthy. So, you know, if I live in an environment that has tons of pollution, I better get out of there. And I want to be able to exercise. So if there's a park, it's wonderful. And for some reason, if I live in a city and there's nothing, of course you go to the gym. You go to the gym, you lift your weights, you do your aerobic, and you do your sauna. Sauna is very important. And we used here at the Institute, we use far infrared sauna. Actually heats you from the inside and out. And what science have found for so many hundreds of years is that when you can heat your body temperature up, actually like when you have a fever, you get rid of infections. Like naturally, if I have a cold, I get a fever and my body kills the infection. So by heating the temperature one degree or two, you're actually boosting your immune system, helping it to clean up pathogens that shouldn't be there. So cancer cells we all actually have in our system many times in a lifetime, and we just should never let them have a chance. But they take advantage when we're weak, when we're too stressed, when big traumas happen in our life, when we didn't take care of ourselves physically or emotionally. And you know, I always looked at it as something bad, taking a chance on our weakened system. So what we need to do is to keep ourselves on a different level where they don't have a chance. So saunas, exercise, diet, positive attitude, you know, making people happy, making yourself happy. It's so important. Having close relationships, finding your purpose. Because if you lost your purpose, then it's very, very tough. And you know, I think every day we have to look forward to every day, and we have to have passions in life, relationships, and you know, friends that helps us in our traumatic times too, that we can talk to, or find good psychologists that can help us get out of maybe the corner that we got into. Because today a lot of people hit the wall. They're so broken, their adrenals are just done, that they need time to recover. And I wish we did have a health system that supported people in those days and gave you time off so that you could find that, but gave you time off by sending them to like a place like ours, or a place where people really could support you and really help you out of that situation. So we need a new health system, big time. We more or less have a health system that emergency, of course, is amazing, but otherwise it's just do it, just have it done, and don't expect anything else, and don't expect that life has traumas or not sleeping and the stresses and I'm not eating well. A lot of our guests comes to us and they tell us that they ask their physician, for example, should I, especially with cancer, is there anything else I should do with the diet? Should I eat different? Oh no, you can eat whatever you want. And our guests are so smart and educated that they're like, what happened here? I thought I was going to get like a book full of stuff, and you can't do that, and you should be doing this, and that's where we come in. But we need to marry the allopathic and holistic medicine. And we, you know, this institute has 62 years of experience, and we're actually waiting. We're waiting for a hand to grab and to help people to help themselves, but also with allopathic medicine. It's very, very important for future, for this world, for the people in this world. And like by 2050, we'll be 9 or 10 billion people. What are we going to do? Some people are going to have Alzheimer. Some people are going to have autism. Some people are going to have cancer, arthritis, diabetes, obesity. You know, who's going to help who? It's time that we change. blood is blood. You know, we all have our white blood cells, our hemoglobin, red blood cells, our platelets. You know, it's a world. I've been looking for 20 years under microscope, magnifying blood 10,000 times. It's a world that's so unique. It's so amazing. And of course, blood is blood. But there's a difference. So let's say I look at blood from a meat eater now. First of all, there's something called rouleau. That means that the red blood cells are all sticky. And there might be yeast, a lot of yeast from sugar, a lot of carbohydrates like bread and pasta and pizza and cheeses and all the dairy products create a lot of yeast. And of course wine, all the fermented alcohols too. So yeast and blood under microscope actually look the same as the little white spots you have on food that's been sitting in your fridge too long and it's just growing fungus. It looks the same, but it's microscopic. So I might see a lot of that. I might see a lot of waste products that now white blood cells have to munch on and take care of, which takes the power from other more important things like bugs coming into our system. So I see a lot of that. Somebody who is on a vegan diet, plant-based diet, could just as well eat a ton of bread, a ton of pasta, a ton of fruit, and also have yeast parasites showing up and a lot of waste products because they eat much more cooked food. Now, if it's a raw fooder, I mean, I would know. If you were a raw fooder and I looked at your blood, I would immediately say, you're a raw fooder. You eat live food. Because it was night and day immediately. So realize that every cell in your body communicates. And the more oxygen, hormones, phytonutrients, and enzymes, which is only in raw food, you have, the better communication of the cells, the better immune system. So, no, it's night and day, but blood is blood. But you're seeing, for example, in a blood test, for us in the first week and the third week, your immune system get the message. So let's say now that I have a cold. Now, my immune system will make the kind of white blood cell that I need for that moment. So certain ones, like neutrophils, are actually phagocytes, and they go after bacteria. So normally they get 60%, it will be much higher. So they might come in at 80% and it's telling, oh, you got a bacteria. And your total white blood count will be much higher for that. Now, what if I have cancer, or I have lupus, or Lyme, or I have arthritis? Well, now actually my white blood count will go down, and it will tell me that you're getting rid of excess cargo and your inflammation rate goes down. But now I'll see, so there are 5 different kinds of white blood cells. Now I see the white blood cells that are fighting this cancer, or fighting the arthritis, or whatever I have. And those are, for example, called lymphocytes, which are the brains of the immune system, and monocytes and eosinophils. I mean, it's amazing how this works. And now they got more active because your stem cells, and now got the message, and out of the bone marrow comes all these white blood cells, and they are on the go. And then when they're done, they go back to their numbers where they should be. So it's a business. And you have to realize that this business is totally dependent on you. And so, you know, I love it. I love to see how people recover. I picture what they will be doing while they're here, and it's always exceed what I expected. So women, you know, are under a lot of pressure. We're supposed to look 20 years old all our life. And this is tough. And so we're supposed to have super energy all our life. And I can tell you, I have an amazing energy, and I'm on my 62nd year of my life. And, you know, compared to a 100-year-old, that's a teenager. But still, you know, it's been amazing. We have, you know, given birth to kids. Now we raised our kids, and they are now out with their own families and kids. So what happens often in menopause time, that we have maybe not all the energy that we need, and we go on something called bioidentical hormones. So these are not synthetic hormones. These are bioidentical, and we could maybe up our testosterone if needed, our estrogen, progesterone, and have so much more energy in our life. Not everybody needs this. It depends on the traumas you've had in your life, how much adrenal stress you've had, and your lifestyle before. And you know, I definitely feel like hormones are made in my food, in my daily routine of exercise, sleeping enough, and the recovery of, especially of sleeping, and how that helps you. But you know, if somebody needs some help with that, and find somebody who gives bioidentical hormones and who tests you and actually retest you every 3 months so that you're on a steady, balanced hormone level, it's not a bad idea. And so some women needs it, some women doesn't. And you know, I think it depends on the lifestyle that you had long before menopause. So obviously sex drive comes from the relationship that we have with our mate. And you know, if we don't have a good relationship, and if there is a lot of quarrel, there's a lot of stress, I'm not eating well, I have stress at work, you know, we need to take some time off. I think we need to take time off. And in the old days, people always did that. They would go away for a week or so and then rejuvenate their relationships. I know that there's nothing sexier than a vegan guy or girl. And that is not saying it because we are. It's saying it because it actually improves your circulation. And we have a product called with nitric oxide. Boy, this has been great for you guys. It's been amazing for circulation. It's been amazing for impotence. And you know, so I think it's more psychological than anything, because the intimacy starts from, you know, a hug, a kiss. It starts from just being together and sharing so much in our life that we support each other. We don't trash each other. If we trash each other, of course, it's not going to work. If you have support from your mate, you will want to help. You will want to also have intimacy with your mate. It's just it's a normal fact. And this is a question from men and women here at the Institute a lot. And that it should never stop. I meet people that are 90-year-old and they're like, I don't know when it's going to stop, but it hasn't stopped yet. And they are taking care of themselves, and they exercise, and they take care of their diet, and they're happy, and they have a positive attitude. I think somebody who is positive is going to have a good sex life. Clothing that is made of synthetic material, like nylon, polyester especially, it is very dangerous on your skin because it changes the frequency. Not only does it make the skin not breathe right, but it also makes you fatigue. Your whole system gets fatigued. And you know, first of all, there's like 2,000 different chemicals to make those clothes. So not only is it bad for me, but it's bad when it goes out in nature and it's polluting our rivers and our lakes and our ocean. It's horrendous. But, you know, looking from my part, it's a carcinogen. You put it on like a newborn baby, and they have often fire retardant into it. It's terrible because you actually soak it in. And it doesn't matter how many times you wash these clothes, it's still in there. So products that, like our organic cotton, wool, silk, hemp is very popular now. You find your way into organic products, textiles that will work. And you know, that makes night and day. I have spent so many years working on our organic cotton bras because so many of the women that come to our institute has breast cancer. And I tell them, I don't want a nylon, polyester, or underwire, because it actually increased the risk of breast cancer 6 times. And I just talked to a woman yesterday who had a cotton bra, but it had underwire, and her tumor is right where the underwire is. And she's like, I can't believe that happened. I cannot believe, because in so many other ways she's taken care. But, so, you know, look at that scenario. That's it's very dangerous. So start also supporting the people that makes these products. And the internet is full of organic cotton. I mean, anything from underwear to clothes, yoga wear, everything. You know, that's in our store. We have that, and our guests are enjoying that when they go in there, and then they dress in that. So it's extremely important to dress yourself, and especially your kids, in organic wear and natural fiber. And you know, natural fiber, it's just, this synthetic fiber really started in the 50s, 60s, and then we got the nylon stockings, and women got severe, serious problems with their with the infections and all kinds of problems. So, you know, I think that is gone. I think women are doing better with that part. It's you have to think ahead. What is this going to do to me? Yes, and a lot of things are much cheaper in the store, but then it's not quantity anymore, it's quality. Get a few good things, enjoy them, and of course also wash them in natural detergents that are biodegradable. You don't want to wash them in heavy-duty chemicals and then put them on. So many people have allergies from that. And you know, and allergies from synthetic fiber, and then the detergent, and then all the other stuff that goes into the washing machines. And you know, realize that everything that you do goes back into nature. You know, it goes into the sewer, back into nature. Everything you do matters. And you know, do the best you can. And there's times that, you know, of course, a coat doesn't have to be or the pure fiber. You know, if I'm skiing, I'm going to have a nylon suit for skiing, but everything else is going to be natural fiber. So you know, there's uses for things. And you know, when polyester first came out, or nylon, I think it was used mainly for in wars, for people flying and going down with the balloons. And then it was like, well, now we have this material, what else can we do with it? Well, it's been hurting people a lot. The 10 most important things is, first of all, a good night's sleep. And a good night's sleep takes in that the room should be dark. I don't want a TV in there. I don't want the phone close by me. I don't want the cell phone in my bed. I don't want the computer in the bed. And I want it to be peaceful. So when I go in there, that's what I do. Of course, read a book or something to fall asleep. And if I need some help, there's melatonin, there's tryptophan, there's Bach flower remedies. You know, there's a lot of things naturally that can help me calm my nervous system if I'm too wired up. But TV doesn't help. You know, we think that it does. We think that, but then I'm so stimulated that I probably wake up in a few hours anyway. So sleep, I think, is important. And if we can go to bed early, great. Then I want to get up in the morning and I want to have a lot of liquids. So now I take maybe a lemon and I squeeze it in a big jug of water. If you want some sweetener, put some stevia in there. That's a natural sweetener. And have that. Maybe I make a green drink, which we do for sure, a green drink. Our green drink in a good juicer is celery, cucumber, and then there's sprouts. There's sunflower sprouts and pea sprouts. I put parsley, well, cabbage, anything you have at home too, you can add in there. And I drink that. And if you're fortunate to have wheatgrass at home, I drink 2-ounce shot of that. So we drink 16 ounces of the green drink, 2-ounce shot of wheatgrass. You're in 7 heaven. Your body is for sure in 7 heaven, and they're ready to go for the day. If I'm hungry, I eat some breakfast, and we make things like raw buckwheaties We soak and sprout buckwheat. You can soak and sprout millet, quinoa, amaranth. These are all gluten-free grains, and teff. And if this is brand new for you, well, then eat a breakfast, but don't eat cornflakes. Don't eat in a package. Make your own cereal. And some people just want a little handful of nuts, like some almonds, some walnuts, or some sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds, and just to get some extra protein and more essential fatty acids for you. Well, then maybe you go to the gym. So we go to the gym and we work out, and what we do every other day, we work out with weights, and we do hours of that. The thing is, because you need 48 hours in between to recover, so you can do different things at the gym if you like to go every day, but if you do a comprehensive program, then you go every other day. Aerobic you can do every day. And if you want, you can have one day off, rest. Some people, of course, go to church. Some people go to the beach. Some people go in the mountains. Just, take a nice walk. So the day goes on, and if I'm working, I might have to bring food with me, because there might be a pizzeria or a bakery. It's not going to give me what I need. So I bring food, I pack food. For our 4 kids, through all school years, that we packed food for them every morning. And that's what they ate at school. And, it's funny because when you're little, some kids can look at your food and say, that looks really weird. By the time you get to high school, you're cool as could be. Are you vegan? You're plant-based? That's as cool as could be. And college is like, that's it. So, if you have little kids and you wonder, how am I going to do this for them and explain this for them, you be the example at home anyway. And then you do the best that you can with what they eat at school, and they eat much more when they come home too. And the juice is a big part for them too. So supplements we take in the morning, and some we take before meals, like enzymes, probiotic, and B12 we put everybody on. It's amazing. So we do have some supplementation, because unfortunately our soil is so depleted that all the things that we thought that we were going to get, I mean, you look at that broccoli, it looks fantastic. And then when you test it, it doesn't have all the magnesium, calcium, phosphorus. It doesn't have it. It just looks great because it's been pumped up with pesticides and fertilizers. And so, of course, you go organic, and it might not look as pumped up as the other foods, but you go organic. So that's very important. And you don't want genetic manipulated foods to get into your baby's or child's body either. So, when I'm from Europe, I'm from Sweden, it's not allowed. So it's really strange. You're in America and it's allowed. And so most of the world says, no, we don't want it. And a lot of chemicals is not allowed in most of the world that is actually allowed in our food here. And so we have to be even more protective being in America. And I think, the water that you drink is very important. We drink distilled water. And there are times, of course, when we travel, we try to get as much distilled water as we can. I don't like to get water in a plastic bottle. Of course, that's not the ideal. At home, it's all in glass. And, the water that you take your shower with. So now you can find that whole house water filter. And you can, if you can't have that, you can have shower filter that you can buy in most stores, water purification stores. And so you take care of that. You want to live in a good environment. So if you're not living in a good environment that where there's a lot of pollution, maybe you start looking out to see how you can move out of that and find better fresh air where you can easily go out and take a walk, where there's nice parks and so on. And the clothes you wear, you want to have pure fiber. You want to shoes, good stuff, and you want to You want to be able to have comfortable shoes. I feel so bad. You know, I'm kind of a little bit tall, so I never got into the high heel. But women are destroying themselves with high heel. You know, they get back pain and neck pain and shoulder pain and of course ankle pain and feet, and you know, it's. I think we need to start looking at how we look and have a different trend of how we look. And yes, everybody wants to look good. Everybody wants to look healthy and be happy about and have a, you know, and it's for our self-esteem too. Of course, it works, but self-esteem doesn't really start with the clothes I wear, the shoes I wear. That starts from the inside. It starts from that I am content with my life and I am clear about who I am. And so, you know, if I'm not, I got to find my way there. And we do a test called biofeedback, Cyberscan and BioWell, and it actually gives you affirmations that are like, it is as if your body is talking to you and telling you this is something you need. And it says the most amazing things about the person, and I tell everybody, this is your help. And many times people wonder, why did I get this affirmation? And afterwards they come back, I know why I got that. I need it, and it's going to make me grow, and it's that extra support. So, you know, some people find their way in life all by themselves and go through trauma, totally different than others, and some people dive into it. And so you want to keep your head far above, and you want to say, I don't take no for an answer. If you believe in yourself, you never take no for an answer. There is good hair dye and bad hair dye. And I don't want to use a synthetic hair dye. I use some hair dye too. And in our salon at the Institute, we have amazing hair dye that's, I mean, you smell it. It's herbs, and you know that you're getting good stuff into your body because you are actually taking that into your scalp. And you know, a lot of women wonder what happened to them, why they have problems like they have. And I highly suggest, if you want to use hair dye, it's okay, but you find the best natural, herbal, and totally chemical-free hair dye that you can find, and it's okay. And we're living in a time now where if I want to have my hair graying, and it's fine, or if I want to keep a certain hair color that I got used to, it's fine. But it's not fine to use chemicals. Absolutely not. So go for the natural, find the best that you can find. You know, we for sure only recommend that, but it's fine. And I see a lot of our guests right before they leave for home, they fix their hair and they go to our salon, and it's just amazing. And they feel like now they're getting the whole package. To chemically straighten your hair, that is such an unnatural way to fix your hair that I would never suggest that for anybody. And you know, these chemicals get into our system, and it weakens our system because it comes in and it changes communication between the cells. So does all chemicals. And I don't need to add more to that. And so I would not suggest, and I know a lot of people, you always want what you don't have. If I have curly hair, I want straight. If I have straight, I want curly. Well, it's just the way it is. So I think we need to start early with especially our daughters, to teach them how beautiful they are, and that they are absolutely perfect the way they are, and they don't need to change it. And later on, if they need hair color, you know, that's another thing. But don't add more chemicals unnecessary like that. Since the early 60s, women started to put breast implants in. And it was very much models that did that because they were supposed to be plump and big-breasted, and so that was the fashion then. And some of the models have come through the Institute who ended up taking them out and had serious problem before they took them out. Well, I can't tell you enough that I'm happy that yesterday the news came out that women are taking them out in thousands. So I think women got tired of this, although it is still the biggest thing in plastic surgery. So women are suffering, and this is the deal. Your immune system has a one-track mind. It will attack anything foreign. And it will look at these breast implants like huge problem. And it will attack it with all their energy. I mean, it will never stop. And eventually they start leaking. And as they start leaking, and it doesn't always show on an ultrasound. So some of our guests have told us after only 7 years, they were leaking, but ultrasound didn't show it. So, and then where do they go? They don't go anywhere, they leak. And it goes into your lymph system. So some people had to take lymph nodes out under the arms and just scrape that silicone or sealing out of their chest. I tell you, it's horrendous, and I hope no woman does it if you have mastectomy. So let's say you have mastectomy, and then you get the enlargers, and then of course you're supposed to come back and get the implants. I think you need to talk to your physician and say, I'm not putting implants in, I'm just going to leave it alone. The one thing that I wish was allowed now, like we saw Susan Summers after she had her breast done after mastectomy, amazing. They took her own fat and they spun it and they separated the fat and the stem cells and they put it back in, looked amazing. That's for sure what every woman could do, but that's after mastectomy. It's not something we really need otherwise. And so, you know, when I started with making bras, I made them for after mastectomy, and I realized that I wanted to put silicone implants into the bra to hold the form after mastectomy. And then I realized that big part of the problem is the heat that the implant created inside the tissue. Well, it will create it even in the bra. So I couldn't create that, so we have wool, kind of wool implants that we put in. And so that has worked for a lot of women, and then they tell me it's like you hardly feel the bras. You know, they're so soft, and they're organic cotton, and there's support, and there's no underwire, of course. So stop this crazy thing, and that putting breast implants, and a lot of people do it just for cosmetic issue, that, you know, they just want to be better. How can you be better than the way you were created? And we're all created different. I always joke and say, the only time I looked like Dolly Parton was when I was nursing my kids, and that's fine. So, you know, you have what you have. And I think, you know, we have the media, we have the press, we have the models don't do it anymore, by the way. But we've been indoctrinated very much from media and how people should look, and that's the ideal of, especially for women, to look like. And so we're all tied to compensate to get there. We don't need to. We need to know that absolutely this is how you were created, and you make the best out of it by taking care of yourself, being healthy, being happy, sleeping enough, not having stress. If you have too much stress in your work, for example, and you feel like you don't have a life, then change. You're allowed to change. And you might think, well, what's going to happen? Is hell going to break loose because I actually step out of this lifestyle and I move into a healthier one? And, you know, you will always be successful if you do that, because every cell in your body knows what you're thinking, and they're going to help you there. You want to have change, you want to take care of yourself, have a better life for yourself and your family. It's going to happen. Botox is an animal cadaver filler, and I would never put that in. And, you know, So there are fillers like our own fat. So of course plastic surgeons can take our own fat, spin it so that it's separated with the stem cells, just like the breast implants, and that is a much better filler, because guess what? Your body again has a one-track mind. If it's my own stuff, it won't attack it. If it's foreign, it will attack it. So it will be an invader. It needs to be something that your body is totally interested in and has the knowledge. It needs to be a part of you. Facelifts is a huge part of plastic surgery, and there are times where facelifts, because women, we are so on the go until probably 80, 90, or 100, and so we want to feel and look the part of, you know, not just aging totally. And it depends on, some women are born, they're lucky, their skin is just gorgeous all their life, and some women get the wrinkles very early in life, and it goes on and on and on. It has a lot to do with lifestyle. It has to do with the sleep you didn't get, the stress you had, the food you didn't get, the liquids you didn't get, you were dehydrated, and maybe you weren't happy. So, you know, it's a lot about that. But I don't want to say that if you do it, then do it the right way. Don't put fillers in that are toxic. Do it with your own body's fats and stem cells. Let that work for you. Oh, it's perfectly fine to use ultrasound for wrinkles, and laser. At our institute, we have an amazing Israeli technology, and women have their collagen improved with these laser machines, and hey, it's perfect. I think every dentist can help you whiten your teeth. You got to be careful, because there's a lot of chemical procedures to do that. There are holistic dentists that can do it different. And I've heard horror stories where people can't even eat or drink anymore because their teeth are so sensitive. So you better find a dentist that's holistic and really can protect you while you're doing this. To stagger your period, your menstruation, and so that you don't have it as often as it should be, you're messing with your hormones. And a lot of women have tried to get pregnant after using this, and then have had a hard time to get the hormones in order again. So, you know, I guess some very super athletes have had to do that to be able to compete. I would not suggest it for, you know, for the normal average population to do that. And, you know, if it's about birth control, then that's another thing. But birth control pills are so toxic that a lot of women have got cancer from them, had strokes from them. And one thing I want to tell, especially the young population, is that once you decide to get off them, so let's say you've been on them for a while, and a lot of women are put on them just for PMS, just for pain, and they have no idea the side effects that's going to come, and it might not come right away. It might come 10, 20 years from now. Anyway, so once you decide to get off, you're off. You cannot go back and forth. And I hear these stories all the time. Oh, I went off, and then I went on, and I forgot, and then I went back. That increases your cancer risk each time. So, you know, if you have it for a certain reason, like a real medical reason, and you change lifestyle, you get rid of these problems, you should be off, and you're off. Spray tanning, no, absolutely not. And you know, you get tan, you go in the sun. This is the best the best nourishment of vitamin D, and it's the best way to get tan. Of course, living in Florida, we don't get tan like I would do when I lived in Sweden, and I would just burn in the sun for hours and hours. We don't do that. But we are by being outside and walking on the beach, and so we get it. But yeah, I know it's fancy kind of to have a tan, and you know, it's a fool's game. Tanning booth is horrendous, and that could really cause cancer, because now you're working with synthetic infrared, and it's not good for anybody. I would not recommend that. You go in the sun, you walk in the sun, you bathe in the ocean, and you get the sun that way. And actually the best time to get the sun's rays and get the best vitamin D is between 1 and 1:30. But of course it doesn't go through my clothes, so I want to expose as much as I can to the rays and get it that way. So antidepressants have their place and time. There are times we have so much trauma in our life we can't function. And so for a short time, that could be absolutely a lifesaver. Now, I might have other reasons. I might be bipolar, schizophrenic, you name it. Then, of course, these antidepressants are there to help me function and be able to live in reality, too. So, you know, there are times that people need this. Having antidepressants for a long term, if I don't have a medical reason, it's very tough. And a lot of men and women have been on it a long time, and they come to our institute, and they, boy, they wish they could get off it, but it's not that easy to just get off. It has to be weaned off for a long time, and with, well, of course, with a specialist, somebody that really knows you and can help you with that. But diet and lifestyle, yes, it helps. Therapies, psychology, and you know, doing therapies like we have Newcomb at the Institute, who is putting you up in a beta state, and really helps you relax. So things like that can definitely be of great help. But you know, it's short term for most of us. In a trauma, death of family members, it's helped a lot of people, but it's not, it does change a lot in your life, and it does change you physically too. There are good sunblocks. Like we have a skincare that's called Become, and one of them is a sunblock. If I am dressing in organic cotton, I don't really need it. If I want to protect my face, I get a good one. I can use aloe vera. I can use cactus aloe. I can take a piece of aloe and just take the gel inside, and I can put it all over my face and whatever shoulders that I might burn, and that is a good sun protection. So, you know, you better watch what you buy, because there's a lot of chemical sunblocks out there, and they cause more problems because they can cause skin cancers and a lot of problems. By the way, skin cancers, you know, happens because of diet, lifestyle, and so we always blame the sun's rays, but it really has nothing to do with that. It has to do with what I'm putting on, what I've been doing inside, the food I've been eating, and my lifestyle. The best antiperspirant is taking a sauna every day and sweating, perspiring out a lot of chemicals that way. There also are crystal made antiperspirant that you can buy in the health stores that you can use that will keep you dry for the day. But I tell you, if they tell you that this product will keep you dry for 24 hours, you run fast away, because You don't want something that clogs your lymph nodes. That is your filtering station. How is waste going to come out? So I don't want to hold it in. Every guest gets one Colonics in our program, and of course they can have more as they need it. Colonics is an amazing, it's like 3 days of fasting. And you know, your colon is as tall as long as you are tall. And it's about as wide as your wrist. And then you have small intestine, about 26 feet long and very thin. And you absorb, in the small intestine, you absorb most of the nourishment. And large intestine, you have a peristalsis that's supposed to move the waste products out. And a lot of people store, you could store in that 6 foot long large intestine, you could store about 10 pounds, you know, and a lot of people do. And they have problems with their elimination and constipation, or they have diarrhea because so much bacteria in the system, it just goes right through. And I tell you, so colonics is a very good thing. Not to overdo it. Colonics you do maybe once a week, twice a week in our program, and then maybe you only do it every 3 months or something. I mean, you shouldn't hang your hat on colonics. But it's a good thing when you first start and you're moving from one diet to the next, for sure. And it's a good rejuvenation to have that help once in a while. And to me, when I have a colonic, I feel like I'm flying out of that later. So what I eat is very simple. I love my sprouts. So sprouts always is a big part of my plate and my juice. And I have a lot of liquid in the morning. So for me, I don't really eat in the morning, but I used to have to because my blood sugar was all over the place as I ate normal standard diet. And then when I moved over to become vegan at 15 years old, I didn't know, so I ate everything cooked and a lot of bread still. And I just kind of moved over, just took meat and dairy and fish and poultry away. But now, since I got over to raw food and live foods, which I eat 80%, sometimes 100%, 80% raw, and then 20% is cooked, but still, of course, vegan, plant-based. It's simple. So I like avocados, or I like nuts. I like to have seaweed in my diet every day. I eat dulse every day. I like nori. I like kombu. I like kelp. And so I want that in my diet as essential fatty acid, as more iodine too. And lately, for a few years, I've been working a lot with the thyroid, because so many people have thyroid problem. And that has a lot to do with the electromagnetic field that we're all around. And we're standing with our cell phone right here, and thyroid is here. And it's the most sensitive to EMF, electric. It's the most sensitive to radiation is the thyroid. So the thyroid needs iodine. That's the job that needs to do a good job. So iodine comes from seaweed, so we like to have that in our diet. And selenium as a supplement, zinc as a supplement will support your thyroid too. And you know, otherwise, if I eat a hot meal, it will be a vegetable soup, or I make a squash. I just cut the squash, I wash it, I cut it, and I bake it or steam it with all the seeds in, and then I take the seeds out as I eat it and enjoy it. And I can mix, you know, food combining is very, very important. So if I have grains, I can have beans, I can have squash, but I'm not going to have nuts with that food. And you know, fruit I take by itself. I only eat fruit twice a week. So of course, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and apples and pears and kiwis. I try to stay out of all the high sugary fruits. And like bananas and grapes and mangoes and dried fruit for sure is very high in sugar. And you know, I've learned, because I loved fruit for a long time, and what happens, I got I got chronic migraines, and that I took away and by not eating fruit anymore. And I realized it because one weekend I didn't have all the fruit I normally ate. I actually had none. And I was like, whoa, something good happened. And of course, Monday, I started to eat all the fruit again. And then I got the migraine. And I said, what did I not do that weekend? And it was like, well, I didn't have fruit. Maybe that's the problem. And you know now, since science have found that fructose feeds cancer more than all other sugar. Not to eat the other sugars, but fructose it prefers. So we all need to be on an organic fruit, and no more than 15% of your diet should be fruit. It's tempting, especially when you go on plant-based diet. Let's just eat fruit, you know. Of course, everybody loves it, but it is not helping us the same as the vegetable, the seeds, nuts, grains, and beans can do for you. So what happened after a meal of animal-based proteins and fats, and if you look at blood under microscope, is that it will actually, the red blood cell will stick together. It's called rouleau. And your immune system is so busy taking care of the waste that you brought in that it's not going to be busy with the infection you had. So let's say I had a cold now. It's going to be so busy with the stuff that I just brought in, the cold will just have to linger until I'm done with the digestion of that. And the more I bring in of processed food, the worse immune system I'm going to have, because it's kind of like having a country. Looking at blood under the microscope is like looking at the generals in a country, let's say. And so I want to make sure that I can see everything that's going on. I want to know that there is nothing hiding somewhere and now suddenly it's going to be attacking me, right? Literally attacking me. And now I get a ton of problems coming in. It's all like problems that didn't even matter. And come on, I have to take care of that. And this attacker now walks in and have free time and can start working on me. And it takes years many times. For example, for cancer to show up, it didn't just happen. It could have taken 10, 15 years before it actually showed, because it takes billions of cancer cells to start making a tumor. So, you know, I can stop that process if I start taking care of myself. Of course, I can stop the process if I have a tumor and I want to start on a good lifestyle, and it has to be 100% raw and it has to be fruit-free at that time. And sometimes you do need medical intervention. If that's something that you choose to do, then you do that, and you do the lifestyle with the raw, with the living foods, and no fruit too. So dairy is, first of all, it's made for a calf to grow 700 pounds in a year. No matter how we try, we're not going to get there. So it's an enormous amount of fat and protein and hormones that's supposed to be for that calf. So we get that, and where's it going to go? We store it. I look at old baby photos of myself and my husband, and we were fat, we were plump, and the children were supposed to be like that. That's what we were meant to, you know, our parents wanted to have a child that was really plump. And I look at my kids, Brian's and my kids' baby photos, and they're trim, they're slim, and they, you know, they have an amazing immune system. So it is not a food for humans, and obviously it came into our life in big poor time and big stress, where we were in places where there obviously wasn't anything else. So we're not meant to have it. It's meant for a calf, and it's certainly not meant for a baby. And I wouldn't suggest that anybody after weaning time, because nursing is usually 2 years, and after weaning that, who needs any milk? We don't need the milk. And you know, cheeses and butters and yogurts, of course, what happened is that the animal corporations, or the beef and the chicken and all those corporations more or less said, you get protein from us. And then the dairy corporations said, you get calcium from us. So you didn't have to think. As a parent, it was like, hey, protein and calcium is all you need. So, and you know, everything in between, I guess it gave us too. No, we paid a huge price, and we have so many problems from this with all the stuff that these poor animals were given. And then you have the ethical reason, which a lot of people come into, you know, that why do I want to go through when I don't need the milk? I can make green drinks, I can make wheatgrass juice, I can eat really well. I don't need that milk. I don't need to take the milk from a calf, and then that calf, of course, which we want that to be very lean meat, it has no chance to move. It's sitting in a little tiny area where it can't even lay down. And so we get lean meat. That's what happens to especially the male calf, of course. So you know, it's an ethical thing. It's a moral, and it is very toxic for our system. Eggs is a chicken. And you know, it's funny because it's sold in the dairy section, so a lot of people think it's part of dairy. It is actually a chicken. So it starts with an egg and it goes to chicken, right? And you know, it's only a fox that can digest eggs. They are the only ones that have enzymes to digest it. So for us, it causes problem. It's high in cholesterol. The protein that's in it, like all animal products, it's not a good for us. It's a big part of actually raising insulin to give us diabetes and obesity and all kinds of problems like cancer too. So it actually raises insulin even more than sugar. So there is mammography, there is virtual mammography, there is thermography, there's ultrasound, there's MRI. Okay, so normal mammography, I never done myself, but I hear horror stories from women. And I know that the radiation that you get is overwhelming for the tissue in the breast, plus it's pressed. So if you didn't have a tumor, you could start making one, or if you did have a benign tumor, it could turn malignant on you. So I would suggest MRI, and you know, MRI without contrast, because contrast is also very radioactive. So MRI is magnetic resonance imaging, and it shows amazing picture. You have ultrasound. By the way, many times ultrasound have shown what the mammogram didn't show. Women found out that they had a cyst or tumor with the ultrasound, where mammogram said, you're fine. And then you have thermography, which is no radiation, and that is actually just a camera. Like we're sitting here right now, it's a camera. You're sitting in a cold room, and you take pictures. You're more or less naked, and you take pictures. And then they make the room even colder and take another picture and compare them to see the difference of your temperatures. It's all about body temperatures. And of course, that's not the last of the testing, but it could be the first, and then go further with MRI or ultrasound. Seeds and nuts are amazing food, and you can soak and sprout them. So to get the best out of it, we soak them overnight, and then we sprout them at least 24, 48 hours. And the only nuts we don't use are cashew and peanuts. So all others are amazing, and you know, use them in moderation. There's an old saying by a physician long time ago, 10 almonds a day keeps the doctor away, right? So it's not, you know, now we can buy a bag full of nuts. You know, it takes a beak to open a nut. And so at Christmas time, when you sit there with a nutcracker, that takes a lot of work to open those walnuts. So you know you weren't supposed to eat a ton of them, but you know, 10 of walnuts, great for you. And sesame seed, complete protein, sunflower seed, complete protein, amino acids. I mean, we will never lack nourishment. This is the highest protein diet that's out there. A lot of people come in and they have low or very high protein in the blood test. It's called total protein. It's a total of albumin and globulin. And that will always normalize. Even after 3 weeks, it will normalize, and people can't believe it. It's like, wow, this actually have protein in it. Yeah, so, you know, this old thinking that it has to come from meat and it has to come from dairy, you can toss that away. I'm from Europe, and I never found anybody who did water fasting, and our clinic that I ran was a fasting clinic, and it was actually government supported, and people would come with all kinds of problems and to do the fasting in maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and sometimes 4 weeks, but it was supported, and you know, it was nourishment, it was juices, it was broths, and it was even in our treatment of arthritis and asthma, which we were well known for, we actually had people cut slices of garlic and apple and chew them together as an anti-inflammatory. And we would drink something called flaxseed water. If we take a few tablespoons of flax seeds in a cup of water, or I would say 16-ounce cup of water, let it sit overnight, stir, and drink that, and just to protect the gastrointestinal tube. So, you know, water fast probably worked long time ago when our bodies were nourished and we walked, we exercised, and you know, we slept better, because sleep is a big factor today. So many people don't sleep, or they sleep a few hours, they wake up, and you know, it's like that. So because we want to be a part of the world, there's so much on TV and there's so much fun to do, and so people didn't have that. So maybe then a water fast was fine. And of course, biblically, we hear about Moses and Jesus, and you know, I don't suggest water fast. We're not healthy enough to do it. We need nourishment when we're fasting, but we fast once a week. Every Wednesday at the Institute we fast. Not every guest of ours are ready to do it, but a majority are, and they can't believe it, that they actually went through a whole day of fasting and they didn't die, that they did actually feel really well. So naturally, most spiritual leaders have a day of fast in the week, and you give your body a break. You give your body a break to recover and repair. And then the next day, I think, if you want to do big changes in your life and you have some great thinking to do, next day is the best day. Live blood cell analysis taught me so much about the human body and the potential to change and how willing it is. That's how I learned how willing your body is to change. Because I would see people the first week, and then 3 weeks later, it'd be a different picture. And even emotional stresses were worked on, because we do a lot of psychology and group sessions and so on. But it's just amazing that you learn that, okay, if I have cancer, I have cancer. If I have arthritis, I have arthritis. And it's like not going to go away. And then you realize that your body says, no, give me the right tools and change things, and you know, walk, move, get therapies, get massages, move me around, give me the right nourishment. I'll do the job for you, because it's just waiting to do it. But I think most people don't rely on their body. They're like, what can you do? You know, it has to be I has to go to the hospital and they have the magic wand, and they don't, and they often, of course, I believe in, you know, if I break a leg, yes, they do have the magic wand, but if I have diabetes, they don't. Now that's my lifestyle. If I have cancer, it's my lifestyle. Arthritis, you know, it goes on and on. So there is emergencies. ER is amazing, but there is the lifestyle problems that I caused very much by my thinking, my lifestyle, that there's no magic wand except me. I just got to take care of it. I got to dig into it. And it's not going to take care of itself from one pill. Don't ever get fooled with that. It's much, much more. But it's simple. It's not complicated. And you know, when our guests go through the 3-week program, they're like, they couldn't believe it, how simple it was. You give the tools, you sleep better, you exercise, you have time for reflection, time to meditation, and things takes care of themselves. So, you know, I think that a lot of people will get stuck. I know a lot of people work two jobs, maybe 3 jobs, and they're like, how can I change that? You're going to have to. The days you're off, you're going to have to start your sprouting. Like for me, on weekends, that's when I prepare everything for the week. And so I start the sprouts, and then it's so much easier to keep going. I clean celery, I clean cucumbers, I go to farmer's market, I can hardly close my fridge, but it's usually enough until Saturday. And you know, I need to prepare. And so I hope you have a day off, and that's the day you need to prepare. And hopefully, as you get healthier and healthier, you educate yourself and search out so that hopefully you only have one job. And you know, it's very important to work on to bettering ourselves. And wherever we are in life, and sometimes we're in life, there's a lot of trauma, pick lifestyle to be your best friend. So now with a professor in Germany, Dr. Ballard, and his team, who's making actually a biome pad that is actually quartz on pad, on cloth, and it sounds a magic, but it actually takes 99% of all interference away from me. So I got the idea of taking a piece of the pad and putting it into a locket. So that's how I now have it available. And you know, you feel it. It works on me emotionally and physically. It is an amazing protection. Actually, when you first wear it, you will start to detoxify. You actually will feel like, wow, what's going on? It's you're cleaning. So of course, a lot of liquid, cleaning saunas, exercise, and just eat really well, because it will take you through that process faster. But you will detoxify, and you wear it at all time. You know, I just wear it outside now to show you, but I usually wear it inside, and it can be outside or inside. But it's that's one thing. Then you have for the cell phone, I have GIA protection. Computer I have also, and you know, there is now actually. We just got from Germany new cell phones, new cordless phones in our house, because cordless phones are big time radiation too, especially if you have it right beside you where you're sleeping. So you got to have it far away. And so there's a new technology that we're looking into. We actually just got it, and I'm testing it in our own house now. And so there's coming a lot of new stuff, because I think people are starting to realize we are bombarded with interference, and it's interfering with us physically and emotionally. So so this is called HHI Pulse, High Pulse, and that's available. And you know, so that's one way I want to take care. We have you know, we have so many ways that we can protect ourselves. If I'm sitting in front of my computer, of course I have the GIA stickers on that, and I have a shield on my computer. And you know, we're living in a time, I can't live without a computer. I don't think you can either. So the reality is we need to protect ourselves as much as possible. To raise physically healthy children, it's really the same as for me to be physically healthy. I really never made baby food. My kids were nursed for 2 years. When they started to be interested in our food, you know, usually when they start crawling, they want moms or dads, whatever they drink and whatever they eat, and most of the time they spit it out. They can't believe you're actually taking this in. They had no idea what it was about. And then slowly but surely, it's like, well, give me that, give me a little bit of that, little bit of that. So before you know it, they're sitting there with a little plate, and even while you're nursing. And so that happens. Some children grow much faster. They're going to be interested in food much sooner. Every child is different. But it happens around that time. So I would say 9, 10 months, or, you know, when they start walking around 1 year, and they're definitely going to want to have food because they're really growing. And then it's fruits. They can have more fruit than us, so it's organic, of course. If I make fruit juice, I dilute it 4 times with water because I don't want them to get used to that sweet stuff. And our daughter, the first time she had a normal cookie that happened to be in kindergarten, and somebody gave her a normal cookie, and the teacher told me afterwards she spit it out faster than fast because she had never had that kind of sugar. So her interest and her knowledge was, you know, this is the kind of sweetness that I've had, and I never had anything like that. So avocados and nut pate, nut milks that I can do, and you know, it's really, my children has eaten what I've been eating, what my husband Brian has been eating. And seaweed, they love the nori sheets. They wrap their whole salad in there, and there's sprouted wraps that you can put salad in, and sesame seeds, sunflower seeds. But it was a big deal also that I would dehydrate. So I get a little dehydrated, which is very simple. It's a box with a heater and a fan to control the temperature. And Dr. Howe was the one who found that if you heat something above 118 Fahrenheit, you kill the enzymes. So I keep mine like 115 and dehydrate. So if I soak and sprout, for example, sunflower seed and pumpkin seed, which is so great for you with the zinc and the protein and the minerals, now I can sprout it in the colander. And I rinse it twice a day, and now a little little germ starts growing, and then I can put it in the dehydrator, and then I can keep it in a little jar forever. So that's been a good thing. And you know, really, if you really want to do a good thing, you keep your child on raw food the first 3 years of their life, because their digestive tract, their metabolism, amazing. And then you can start, if you want, with some cooked, like 80-20, and that would be a plant-based, of course. Once you're on dialysis, you are dialysis, unless it's a temporary dialysis because of a surgery or something in the hospital. But if it's permanent, it is permanent. But you can, of course, improve the life quality. You can improve the general health, and you know, we have people right now that is undergoing dialysis at the local hospital and that are going through our program. We have to modify it somewhat, because our diet is very potassium rich, so we do lower amounts of certain things, but you know, they flourish, they do amazing, but dialysis is still going on. Atkins diet is a high protein, low carb diet. Yeah, you know, if you just look at it from the outside and you try it, yeah, you will lose weight because you don't have all the sugars and you don't have the bread and the pasta and all of that. But you are on a highway to disaster because it's a high animal fat protein diet. We were never supposed to be on that. You spike your insulin, diabetes is waiting around the corner, cancer could be waiting around the corner. It's not for human beings. And you know, it's sad that Dr. Atkins got into it in that way, because you know, it's created a lot of problems. For example, so we had this athlete that came, and he just about lost his kidneys, I mean, yes, he would have ended up on kidney transplant. He came to us in the last minute, and he's been on Atkins diet. He was told it's perfect for an athlete. I mean, you need all that protein to go. And it's just about killed his kidneys because it's so acidic. It's so tough on the kidneys to regulate that and regulate your blood pressure. And, you know, I mean, it's not a good diet. It's not for anybody who wants to flourish in life. I want, you know, if you hear what we're saying, you have to realize that we've been working night and day for more than 40 years. We raised 4 children on this, and we have 7 grandkids. You have to realize where we come from. And I'm giving you the advice, and all the rest of us here, from our heart and from our experience. I want you to start where you're at with any improvement will be amazing. If you improve by starting to make juices, if you improve by eating organic, and you go much more plant-based, and you start going to the gym, you take a walk every day, you go to bed earlier, you know, wherever you can start, it's wonderful. And we want you so much success. And, you know, just realize it takes baby steps. And you've got to crawl before you walk, and walk before you run. And so we've been through a lot of that, and we're learning every day. You never stop learning.